Next question. Have you had any conversations with executive teams where you show them your analysis, but they simply disagree despite the facts? At what point in analysis do you find it challenging to convince the executive team of where the company has been and where it is headed? Okay, so once again, if we had 5 or 6 hours to go over this, I could fill the 5 or 6 hours with that. As an analyst, there is nothing more frustrating than executives who do not want to believe what you are sharing, who choose not to believe what you are sharing, or do not have the mental bandwidth to understand what you are sharing. And so your job as an analyst is to kind of ferret that information out as early in your relationship with the executives as is humanly possible. So when I'm doing consulting, I don't have that opportunity because I'm not there with them day to day. So what I do in my project work, so if you are a consultant, I send what I call our tidbits, where I'm sending facts about what I learned for the first 14 days of a project. They're going to get in between 14 and 25 tidbits. I try to do 1 a day. Sometimes I do 2 a day. I judge that based off of how knowledgeable the executive team is as I share the tidbits. If they are showing a lot of knowledge, they're going to get 25 tidbits. If there are a lot of roadblocks and problems that are thrown up, I only send 7 tidbits. But the reason I'm saying the tidbits is I'm trying to understand whether they are on my side or not. I'm trying to understand if they understand the concepts or not. And I'm trying to understand if they're going to be willing to change or not. So it is very common to share all the facts and the executive goes, this is great, this is wonderful, I'm very happy with this, and they're never going to do anything. I try to ferret that information out early because I'm going to have a very different approach if I know that the person is never going to implement my work but appreciates it and understands it. That means there's something else holding the person back. It is common in my work to identify problems that are linked to advertising issues. And so I will find, for instance, that a paid search budget is really upside down and they are paying too much per click. And as a result, they are unprofitable. If they were to cut back on their marketing budget or cut back on their paid search budget, the brand is actually going to see a sales shortfall. So I can tell the client to do everything that is right to make them more profitable, but their top line will decrease. Well, if the owner of the company is paying everybody a bonus based on sales increases, they're not going to listen to what I'm saying. They may agree with it. They may actually like my work. They may hire me again. But if what I'm recommending does not align with their objectives, they're not going to come along for the ride. There are many executives who just want to be combative. And when I say executives, I shouldn't even say that. There are many human beings who just want to be combative. Some of the worst clients I've ever worked with, it's the analyst that I just get to a point where it's like, I don't want to work with this client anymore because the analyst is just being argumentative for the sake of arguing. There's always going to be a personality type that wants to be, say, well, I'm going to play devil's advocate here, but you have a 10% annual repurchase rate. Maybe we just need to get customers to be more loyal. And they're saying that just to sound smart. So I try to stay far away from that person and I try to isolate that person. I had a client, it was a major retail brand where the CEO was that person. And I was in the room with his executive team. So there's 11 people in the room and me. And the CEO was such a nasty human being that he kept doing those things to try and always take a contrarian point of view that I literally took my chair and I turned it away from him and I presented all of my arguments to the rest of the room and refused to look at him. If he was going to bring up all kinds of challenges or questions, I would address the rest of the room and I would stay away from him. So there are little things that you do to try and neutralize people who are just trying to be nasty. And then there are people who don't understand. And those are people that I tend to have, I will give them a lot of time. So if a person doesn't understand, if you say that the repurchase rate is 10%, and that person is like, well, what is the repurchase rate? Why does it matter? And they're not asking the questions to be argumentative, but they're asking the questions because they don't understand. That's where you put the kid gloves on, you spend a lot of time. And you're going to find in your project work, you will find that somebody else will usually align with you. There'll be another executive who basically takes your side and will help you navigate those people who don't understand. So my job is to try and figure out early on what people's what people's reasons are for not going along with something. And I try to ferret out whether they have objectives or bonuses or something that are causing them to not listen to me, whether they just want to be argumentative, just be nasty and combative, in which case I'm cutting them out of the loop and I'm not even going to focus on them. Or if the person truly doesn't understand, I'm going to spend a lot of time with them and put the kid gloves on and try to be very helpful there.
If you want more expert insights like this, subscribe to our channel.